We're here in front of the West Dorm, and our first plant today is one of my favorites, Spikenard, S-P-I-K-E-N-A-R-D, Spikenard. It's in the ginseng family, and it's just beginning to bloom. These big clusters of tiny white flowers are just starting to open. It's a big plant. It can get up to 5 feet tall and 5 feet wide. It looks like a shrub, but it dies back to the ground in late fall. These clusters of flowers will turn into a cluster of dark purple or dark blue berries later on in summer and in fall that birds and other wildlife eat. So it's good for attracting wildlife. This one, I can't figure it out, has a lot of damage on the leaves, which I've never seen before. I think it was heat stress. I thought it was spider mites at first, but it's not. But normally it stays nice and dark green all summer long. It has beautiful purple stems, these large doubly pinnately compound leaves. Just a great wildflower, spikenard. Well, here in front of the East Dorm is another one of my favorite plants, Pagoda Dogwood, one of many dogwoods, but one of only two in the world that has alternate leaves. All other dogwoods have opposite leaves. And here it is in full fruit. These dark blue purplish berries, which won't be here long because birds, berry-eating birds, love dogwood berries. So these will be gone soon. But these red berry stems, they're called pedicels, will remain for many weeks and providing color. And then later on in the season, in fall, you get a nice maroon fall color on really all dogwoods. It's called Pagoda Dogwood because it has this very layered branching structure, pagoda-like. It's a wonderful, partial shade loving, large-scale shrub, small-scale tree, often multiple-stemmed, beautiful in all seasons, Pagoda Dogwood. We're back in front of the West Dorm again, looking at Chokecherry. This is one of our Door County's three native cherries. We have chokecherry, which is very common, wild black cherry, very common, pin cherry, not as common, but we have three. And here is chokecherry in full fruit. Very pretty, edible, but not really palatable, although you can use it to make jam and jelly and wine, but as a fresh fruit, it's pretty sour. Birds love it. These won't last long, but very pretty while they're there. Almost looks like a bunch of grapes. Further up here we see a common disease problem on chokecherry. Doesn't happen on the other cherries up here, just this one. That's called black knot, and it's this gall, fungal gall, that looks like somebody burned it and then it's swelled up. And it will get worse and worse and worse on one plant over time, to the point where if it's in your landscape you might just cut it out because it looks so bad. But you can, if you just have a few here and there, you can prune them out. You want to get well back of the gall so you don't transfer it on your pruning shears from one cut to the next, but it can be taken out. But I've never seen a plant, a chokecherry, die from this, but sometimes you're just so full of it you get rid of the plant because it looks so bad. So that's black knot. And these are the mature fruits on chokecherry, which I'm guessing a week or two from now won't be here because the birds will have them all. Also in front of the West Dorm is our native clematis. Many people pronounce it clematis or clematis. It's clematis. And this is Virgin's Bower. It looks like it's a little shrub here, but it'll actually crawl up into shrubs and things or ramble along the ground. But these beautiful pure white flowers. There are a bunch of things pollinating it over here. I saw a wasp and some small bees, so it's a good pollinator. And it'll form a little kind of a fluffy feather-like seed structure later in the season, which is very attractive. But this is our native Clematis virgins bower. Very nice. Early August is the start of goldenrod season in Door County and everywhere else. And this is one of, I don't know, I think we have 6 or 7 native species of goldenrod up here. This is a pretty common one. It's a smaller one. This is gray goldenrod. This is typically how tall it is, a foot, foot and a half, maybe up to 2 feet tall sometimes. Just beginning to open up its flowers. And it's this single kind of wand or stem that's arching. You can always tell it by the way the inflorescence arches like this. So it's classic gray goldenrod. It's also nice to mention goldenrods this time of year because when they start to bloom, people start blaming them for their hay fever. And many people will cut down or weed out or mow down goldenrods because they think they cause hay fever. They don't because they can't. Goldenrod pollen is carried by bees, not by the wind. Ragweed is the culprit for hay fever, and that's starting to bloom right now too. It's lower down, inconspicuous. You hardly even notice that it's blooming, but that's the culprit, not this. But goldenrods get blamed for a lot of hay fever. Anyway, gray goldenrod. Here's one of the classic mid to late summer meadow and prairie wildflowers, Black-Eyed Susan, also called Brown-Eyed Susan. Obviously that's more brown than black, but it's called Black-Eyed Susan. With these showy yellow petals. They're called ray petals or rays on plants in the aster family. And these are actually called discs or disc petals that cluster in the middle. That's what they call them on aster family plants. But this is, a favorite of everybody. Everybody knows Black-Eyed Susan. It has these real hairy leaves, but the flowers are the main show. The wonderful Black-Eyed Susan. This is Monarda or wild bergamot. You often see it called bee balm also. It's a great pollinator. Hummingbirds like it too. You also sometimes hear it called Oswego tea or horse mint, although those are common names that are technically applied to a different species that doesn't grow here. So this is wild bergamot or bee balm. And the flower color will vary from light pink to darker pink, depends on the soil, but has these long tubular flowers that even hummingbirds will feed off of. It's a wonderful kind of prairie type plant. Prairies aren't an original native condition in Door County, but we have lots of meadows up here now after the forest was cut down, and some of those prairie type wildflowers are native up here, like bergamot and Black-Eyed Susan, lance-leaf coreopsis, and several others. But this is one nice one that just started showing up. We're at the Jensen Center, just right along Garrett Bay Road, and there were always 1 or 2 in here for years in this little meadow, but now there are more of them, so I'm very happy about that. So wild bergamot, Monarda, bee balm, wonderful prairie type meadow wildflower.